But David, the numbers for GM were pretty solid. So I feel like, does this take GM back in its negotiating position? Like, how do they not say yes to the auto workers when their numbers are super solid?
They do have a really strong contract on the table, and Mary Barra said that today. It's a record contract, and that's what GM will come back with, but the union wants more. UAW President Shawn Fain kind of telegraphed this on Friday when he said they are pretty close to a deal, but he also told membership they had to be ready to walk out at any time because sometimes the last mile, he said, is the toughest one, and you really have to be vigilant to get it done. And he also said there's more money on the table, and clearly that's what he's going for. I think the strong earnings told him there is money on the table. GM did have a very good quarter. If not for its strike costs, they would have matched last year's profits. They certainly beat estimates, and they're gaining market share in the U.S. So all systems go from a financial and performance perspective for the company, but they've got this big strike, and it's getting wider because this Arlington plant is very profitable. Those SUVs make a lot of money.
Isn't that the point, though, David, that they've waited? These are the most important areas that they are now targeting. They're saving them for the last mile. In some ways, is this bad news, good news? It signals that we are potentially seeing the final throw of the dice.
It's hard to say. I mean, look, I think so based on what everybody has said. But Shawn Fain has also moved the goalposts many times on these companies. And that's, they'll bring an offer. The other companies will match it, and then he'll move it again. The companies really, they almost have an issue with record profits, or the unions do, rather. They every time they talk about that, they say, well, there's more money for us to come out of this. So there is this push and pull here where they want to work for a successful company, but they want to share in that as much as they possibly can. And the better the results are, and we'll probably see good results from Ford as well, because the auto market has been fairly strong, and probably from Stellantis. So all of that's going to feed the union's push to get a better contract over the next 4 years. And they may be pretty close, but they're going to try to get every bit that they can.
So, funnily enough, what I find interesting is part of what the UAW is sort of working against is EVs, right? In the transition, they'll need less workers, and how to sort of have that spot as car makers transition. But EVs didn't do very well. Like, they're not very profitable. They're not selling well. And I'm just wondering, like, why?
Why aren't EVs doing well?
Yeah, and sort of what's going to really turn that? They have the government support. They have billions to build EV factories. Like, what is the problem?
So the direct incentives from IRA don't really kick in till January, although there are plenty of incentives out there right now. Look, they're still really expensive, and there aren't a lot of models available compared to the rest of the market. The other thing here that I kind of keep telling people when they say, why don't we have this growth, is people aren't unhappy with their internal combustion vehicles. So you have to impress them to get them to buy an electric vehicle. Right now, the people who've bought them are the early adopters who love technology or have an environmental reason for buying the car. And they're also, right now, EVs are so expensive, they're luxury cars. And luxury buyers want to have the latest thing, so they've been buying them. Now the companies are moving into the mass market, and these are people who don't have as much money to spend, especially with interest rates this high. Price of a new vehicle is already well over $700 a month, and EVs are more expensive than that. So they're priced out of the range of a lot of people, but you got to get the mass market to buy in, and that's where we are. We're at this moment where now you've got to bring in your average buyer.